Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the saddest day of the year. That's what I was told this morning as I was coming to work. That this is that the third Monday in January is the saddest day of the year. And legitimately, I've got a lot of clients that are struggling right now. And now a lot of my clients, as well as a lot of my mentors, have become really good personal friends. I was talking to somebody this morning. I was talking to somebody a couple days ago, and people are struggling. Now, I don't want to take away from that. That's legitimate. Okay. What I want to do today is I want to help people with kind of a foundation that's going to help you through the rest of the year. So legitimately, whatever you're feeling, whatever's going on here, I want to give you some basic things. Now, again, my clients know this, my mentors know this, but my friends know this. But if you don't, this broadcast, today's Facebook Live, is going to be simply helping you with what you're struggling with. All right. So I'm gonna click on the agenda here to start it. And what I'd like you to do is, my son was actually struggling with this morning, just before I left for my office. He was laying on the couch, really despondent. And I said, "What's going on, buddy?" And he said, "Dad, the little ball, I think that he got from the dollar store for Christmas, my ball, I left it at my cousin's house." And I said, "How are you feeling about that?" And he was very distraught about this little bouncy ball. And I said, "Come on, buddy, legitimately, you're feeling it, whatever." But there are more important things going on. I shared kind of there are people that are dealing with people that are dying around them. Their business is going defunct. Those kind of things. Those things are fairly serious. A ball, I personally don't consider it super serious. And I said, what would happen if somebody around you died, like a family member? How would you feel about that? And he's like, probably about the same. And what happens is when we get into a place where we're legitimately not doing well, everything seems to be awful. That's legit. Legitimately, that's how we feel. What can you do about it? Well, for my son, I told him to eat something. I got his blood sugar up. Legitimately, the basics of food, sleep, and movement cure many ills. So here's the first thing. If you're in the dark days of January, as they are right now, or middle of January, and maybe you haven't even gotten to a good start, maybe your routine's off, maybe a lot of things are off, and maybe legitimately your business is struggling, or your family. Again, some of my friends right now, they've got family stuff going on that's always incredibly difficult to deal with. What can you do? Well, again, comes back to the basics. So food, what are you eating? What are you putting into yourself? What kind of fuel are you putting into the engine? If you are not putting good fuel into your body, how can you expect to do well? So lay off alcohol, lay off sugar, lay off the things that are not helping you very much, and get into taking care of your body. Whether it's make it a goal to eat a green salad at least once a day for the next few weeks, and see how it starts to affect you. I notice massive changes in my body when I'm putting good fuel into it versus just junk. Sleep. Are you getting to bed at a decent time? Are you getting up at a decent time? When you get up, are you feeling rushed? If you can start off with a good routine, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but your sleep routine is so important. And we talk about exercise, we talk about food a lot in our culture. We don't talk about sleep a lot. Sleep is imperative. If you are off with your sleep patterns, you're not going to be doing as well. You're not going to be able to help other people around you as much, or even take care of yourself. So if you're doing not too well, start taking care of your sleep. It doesn't matter as much that you struggle with sleep, as much as that you develop a routine that's going to help you with that. So go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. That helps our bodies. It's called your circadian rhythm. It usually takes 180 days to get flowing really well. But if you do this on a consistent basis, you will do far better. Lastly, movement. Move your body. You don't have to exercise hard. Move your body. I'm on a streak right now. I was showing my daughter. I'm on a streak of 63 days where I've hit my movement goals every day for 63 days. What that means, it's going to be different for everyone. Sometimes I work out really hard. Sometimes I'm just doing stretching, going for a walk, just moving my body. But I make sure that I move it a certain amount every day. Now, you can measure this with steps. You can measure this with active calories burned. You can measure this with a lot of different things. So make sure, thanks for the comment, Kim. Make sure that you're taking care of some kind of movement with your body. Do this in the morning. You'll have more energy. You will be doing better. Okay, next. One thing I'd like to talk about here is, what about a strong base or a strong routine? I said I was going to mention this. Make sure that you've got a routine that's taking care of yourself. I watch people's routines constantly. We just went over the holiday season. I saw people and family that are struggling, and their routine is way off. Start developing a routine. I talked about sleep. Develop a routine that sets something apart for you. I was talking to somebody that I really care about this morning, and this individual has, he wouldn't say it, but he has a fairly strong routine in that he does take care of himself in many different ways. So what can you do about that? Well, you can practice getting yourself in a good state. What does that mean? It means doing something every morning that's going to take care of you so that you're ready to take on the day. For example, that might be a little bit of meditation, a little bit of mindfulness. It could be just making sure that you're doing everything right in the morning, like reviewing your goals. You could be journaling a little bit. You could be asking yourself, how do I make today a decent day? You could practice affirmations, review your goals. Those kinds of things are always going to be helpful for you, okay? So a strong routine, especially in the morning, especially when you first wake up, is going to set it apart. People that I notice people all the time who are struggling, often when I ask them, what is your morning routine? It is very stressful. They get up at the last second. They don't have any time for themselves. They don't have time to get into a good place. And now the first thing is going to throw them off. News media, things are going to throw you off. For example, when somebody told me this morning that it's the saddest day of the year, that can throw a person off. But legitimately, if you've protected this period of time in the morning where you are taking care of yourself, you are that much more able to have a decent day, if not a fantastic day. Thirdly, you need to surround yourself with the right people. This is so important. I talked about how many of my mentors and many of my clients have become friends of mine. What I do is I handpick people to be friends. I legitimately do this. I've slowly taken people that are awful in my life, not because they're awful people, but because they've got a terrible attitude, or they're not good for me. I've slowly weaned myself from those relationships, and I just let them die off on their own. People that are fantastic in my life, I typically try to spend more time with. Now, I don't do this with everyone that I really like and care about, but a lot of the people, I will set aside time to do that. I've got one person that I met on Saturday that asked me every once in a while, like, Mark, why do you spend time with me? And I said, because you're fantastic to spend time with. It puts me in the right place. Surround yourself with the right people. If you've got people that whine and complain all day, that's not helpful for you. That's not going to put you in a good state. At least have one or two people. Seek these people out. If you have to pay money for it, pay money for it. Do whatever you need to do to spend time with the right people. When I was starting off in coaching and in psychology, what I did was I actually handpicked people, and I paid them to be my mentor, because they were the right people to spend time with. And they invested in me. They had to, because I was paying them to do it. And it was really, really helpful. And it got me into the right place. Hopefully you can do that for other people. But for right now, have people invest in you, okay? Now, lastly, what about right now? What if you're having a really rough time right now and you go, Mark, that's great. I would like to find better friends. That's not going to happen in the next 24 hours. I would love to create a good, strong base or a good, strong routine that takes care of me for weeks and weeks on end. I don't have that right now. And right now, I just finished off the weekend with bad food and bad sleep and bad movement. I haven't been doing those things. This is what I'm going to recommend you do. Between noon and 2 o'clock today, plan to go for a walk. It doesn't have to be a long walk. Go outside, no matter how cold or warm or rainy or whatever it is, and go for a walk. I'm going to tell you a really quick story. So when I was living in Sweden, I lived in Sweden for 2 years. I was like 19, 20 years old. And I remember, my mom is actually a therapist. I remember, she wasn't at the time, but I remember calling home, and it was around January, when it was probably right around here, around this time. Now in Sweden, in Stockholm, you have no light in the winter, legitimately. You've got like 2 hours, 3 hours of sunlight sometimes. And so that can be really hard for people. And it's also really cloudy a lot of the time. So even the sun that is coming in, you don't feel like it's getting to you. I remember calling home once and saying, hey, how you doing? Talking with my mom a little bit. And she said, Mark, you sound like you're a little bit down right now. And I said, yeah, maybe. She said, this is what I want you to do. This was such fantastic advice, and this is what I'm giving you right now. She said, Mark, every day between noon and 2, when the sun is at its fullest, even if it's cloudy, you're going to get some. You're going to get your vitamin D stores up a little bit higher. What I want you to do is go out for a short walk. It can be as short as 10 to 15 minutes a day. But if you're feeling it right now, if you're noticing that your mood is just not where it needs to be, your attitude, your whatever, your state, then what I want you to do is just go for a walk, 10 to 15 minutes at the minimum. It doesn't have to be a fast-paced walk. It doesn't have to be this intense exercise. Simply go out and move your body a little bit in as much light as you can get between 12 and 2 o'clock. Do this 5, 6, 7 days a week, and it's going to help. Last thing, because this makes a a good difference, a big difference for you, it maybe take a little bit longer than 24 hours, is get your vitamin D up. Vitamin D is almost magical in our bodies. It does amazing things. And one thing it will do is it will brighten the mood a little bit. This is going to sound weird. I take cod liver oil every morning during the winter months, every single morning. But make sure that you get omega-3 fatty acids, fatty oils into your body. Excuse me. The more you do this, the more you take care of yourself, the more you're going to help yourself. Our vitamin stores can kind of disappear in the winter, especially if I'm in Canada. So if you're getting a lack of light and you've got a lack of certain maybe foods during the winter, fruits and vegetables sometimes, then do what you need to take care of yourself. All right. Hopefully something in here helped you. Legitimately, these are tried and true tactics that I've used. I've helped a lot of my clients over the years with feeling depressed at certain times and dealing with, again, I've got friends that are dealing with a lot right now, way more than I want to deal with, ever. When those things are happening, we need this all the more. The more you're taking care of yourself, the more you're going to be able to take care of whatever else you need to do in business and life. Enjoy your week.